Good morning, Legends Club. How's everyone doing? Welcome to the Sunday stream. I am, of course, your host, Jay. Good to see all of you here. Factory Ruins is number one. Look at that. Welcome, buddy. Are you here, JP? I don't think he is. P90, congrats on the Ninja Gaiden 3 victory. Cheers to you. That was one hell of a run. You crushed it, buddy. I knew you would. Funny, you had on the last the last part, you had trouble with the second phase, and I had trouble with that first one. But that's good stuff, buddy. Very, very proud of you. Thanks for subscribing, Excited Camel. By the way, appreciate that. Bat Stan is here. He says, "Good morning, everyone." We got Matt Tracker Rubin and the Den of Geek. My two incredible moderators. What's up, guys? Good morning, Jet. Good to see you. Cutthroat Comics is here. All the regulars are here. Legends Club Butters, good to see you. We are going to, I think we're on EGM at number 39. We're going to do this one. We talked about Starcade. I think that's something that we can do in the Discord. I just got to be careful when I stream that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? So, Mutron, if you're watching, we can definitely do that in the Discord, bud. I just don't know if I want to do a lot of reacting to that. Hope you guys understand. Yeah, we are on issue 38. Thanks, Matt. Whitney, what's up? How's things over in Facebook land? Good to see all of you. Okay, well, we got to get to it. And this cover is really, really interesting. So we have, this is the 1992 fall preview. So we're kind of almost in line with where we are in actual time. So this would be September. We're a couple months off, but we're getting close to the Christmas season here. Getting close. We got lots of stuff here. This is September 92. We have Ren and Stimpy. As you guys know, I think most of us here are Ren and Stimpy fans. Yeah, look at this. I love that show, actually, Cutthroat. Love it so much. I really need to get physical copies of the seasons. I don't even know if they're available anywhere streaming, but oh god, what a great show. There was so many Ren and Stimpy games too, if you guys remember. There was like 3 or 4 at least. Yeah, P90. Me too. I loved it. Josh, good morning, my friend. Good to see you. Yeah, it was definitely pushing the boundaries before South Park, before American Dad. Of course, before Family Guy. Ren and Stimpy was doing some pretty risque stuff and absolutely hilarious. Okay, excuse me, guys. I need to rewatch it too, dude. It must be on YouTube. Maybe. You've never played any of the games. You know what? I'm going to say you're probably not missing much with the games. And so this is my one particular issue that I have with the Super Nintendo and the Genesis was you got a lot of these cartoon games and just flooding. And I understand they were super popular, right? Like we got a lot of Simpsons games. We got Ren and Stimpy. Later on, we got Beavis and Butthead. And none of them are really good. I'd say the Simpsons arcade game by Konami is pretty solid. I'm not talking about later on the, Simpsons Hit and Run, stuff like that. That stuff is really good. But we're moving on here. Okay, in this issue, check this out. Look at this. Sonic, we got Sonic Part 2, so we left off talking about the sequel to Sonic, Tricks of the Trade, which is Street Fighter 2, and this issue is littered with Street Fighter 2. And look what we got right here. Ladies and gentlemen, on page 42, what do we see here? We have Mortal Kombat, which releases in 1992, and here it is, finally mentioned for the first time in EGM. Mortal Kombat. Check out the possible successor to Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition Mortal Kombat. Get stung with Sand Scorpion, a great new shooter, impressive graphics, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we're going to get to that. Joe, what's up in Facebook land? How you doing, buddy? Happy Sunday to you. All right, let's crack this open, boys. Yeah, congratulate P90. He dominated Ninja Gaiden 3 in just over an hour. Just over an hour. So good work, man. Love to watch you play those games. Just dissect them. Insert coin. This editorial is by Ed, and of course, we are once again talking about the Street Fighter phenomenon. Okay, by now, virtually everybody in the country has the mega hot Street Fighter 2. Sales for the first week that this soft was out set new records, and judging from the hundreds of letters that we have already received, player satisfaction with this prime cart is at an all-time high. As we've been saying for quite a long time now, this is not just another popular game. It is like its arcade cousins, a phenomenon, and that is why month after month we continue to devote more and more pages to this special cart. Also, because it is still the most popular game here at Electronic Gaming Monthly, our crew continues to dive deeper and deeper into this soft. Okay, I'm gonna put a little marker there. Isn't it amazing? At the surface, you think, wow, this is just a one-on-one fighting game. But this particular example here, when we're talking about Street Fighter 2, is one reason I love this magazine and how they just, I don't want to say they get obsessed with the title, but they dive into it so much and understand that there are layers. And you could talk about Street Fighter literally for months, and they have been. Mutron, good morning, buddy. I don't know if you heard my message at the beginning. We'll do Starcade in the Discord, my friend. I don't want to do too many of those reactions on the channel. Hope you understand. I do think that we can watch it no problem in the Discord, though. Josh says, I beat NHL. Let's get that up there. I beat NHL this morning and won the Stanley Cup on the Sega Genesis. Good for you, buddy. That is awesome. I woke up at 5 and I went onto the Discord and I saw that you're streaming. I'm like, whoa, you are a night owl, dude. Good for you. Yeah, you and P90 should hook up with that, because I know he loves that game too. And of course, continuing here, and of course, the gameplay. We are finding a lot of hidden tricks buried within the program. Just as we had an exclusive news on the character versus character trick last issue, we are now hot on the trails of the same color character versus character quirks. We have figured out how to do two of the same character in both normal game and also in the Champion Edition color game. Amazing too, but I mean, the same color. I don't see why that's such a huge deal. But anyway, moving on. Gameplay aside, now that this card is out, the demand for the Street Fighter 2 paraphernalia has also increased. Players can't get enough of Street Fighter 2. Accessories like specialized 6-button controllers, t-shirts, hats, posters, trading cards, and practically anything with the Street Fighter 2 logo on it are hot items. Most of this already available from Capcom and listed in the back of the instruction booklet. And according to Capcom, more is on the way, as they are actively licensing the Street Fighter 2 characters and names. In addition, joystick companies are racing with each other and Capcom to get the first real 6-button controller on the market. Mughill or Mughill, thank you very much for the sub. If you're in the stream, welcome on in. However, the impact of this game goes just beyond software sales. Based on the letters that we have received, literally thousands of players have expressed such a strong interest in this game that they tell us that they will sell their existing game system to go out and buy a Super Nintendo just to be able to play this game. And that is true, my friends. I knew people who did that. This was probably one of the biggest gaming phenomenons in the history of video games when Street Fighter 2 came home. This Street Fighter phenomenon isn't just limited to Capcom's Super Nintendo either. SNK has just brought out a huge 87 meg fighting game called World Heroes. How many remember World Heroes? It was a one-on-one fighting game where you got to use it was like a gladiatorial setting, I believe. And you got characters with weapons before Samurai Showdown still, but it was really good. World Heroes for the Neo Geo system that has a strong resemblance to Street Fighter 2. Sega is working on a 16 meg sequel to Streets of Rage, and there are at least a half a dozen additional fighting games coming out from various other Nintendo licensees. How long will Street Fighter 2 stay popular? Most likely through the holidays, but players have an insatiable appetite for new games, and those who have purchased this card when it first came out are already inquiring about the possibility of the Championship Edition appearing on the home system. A rumor that Capcom states is completely untrue, which we know that is untrue because Champion Edition came out on the Sega Genesis. Very, very smart on Sega's part. All in all, after the fact, a big tip of the hat as you go out to Capcom for all the work that they did on creating this phenomenon. It wasn't easy to pack an arcade game into the cartridge, and to be able to get enough of the product into the stores to meet the huge demand was quite a feat. But they did. And the end result is the game that has a good shot of being the game of the year. If you haven't tried this cart yet, give it a shot, as it is highly addictive. Also, any game which gets a perfect 10 by not one, but two of our review crew is good. Did we get to Street Fighter 2 yet, or did he just spoil something? I don't think we did Street Fighter 2 yet. Maybe we did. Good editorial. And I just got to say, I don't know what you guys think. This is my 2 cents here. How can this not get Game of the Year when it's been on like multiple covers? It wasn't a past issue? Okay. I don't remember. Yeah, it's been on multiple covers. They talk about it multiple times, multiple different sections of almost every magazine, it seems like, for the past year. And I can't remember which game gets Game of the Year in 1992. It's either this or I think Link to the Past might. Anyway, we're moving on. We got our letters to the editor. The first trolls of the internet were born of these pages, my friend. That is true. And here we go. Look at this. It's all Street Fighter. Street Fighter. Oh, yeah. I remember saying, wow, I never saw a 10 before. You also said the same thing. Oh, okay. All right. And no nerd, top of the morning, my friend. Welcome on into the stream. You're just in time for letters to the editor. Whew. Okay. Street Fighter 2 update. Let's get into this. This is from Dan Evanson from Los Angeles. I'm confused. I want to buy Street Fighter 2, but I don't want to pay $80 now and then 3 months later pay another $80 when Capcom decides to do the Champion Edition, sorry. To make matters even more confusing, I just got your August issue, and you said that there is a special trick to play character versus character in the Super Nintendo version. You even showed tons of pictures to back it up. That made me very happy. I would have no problem in buying this game, but I wanted to check out the story more thoroughly. First, I called the Capcom. I love it. I love it when they actually called the company. That's my favorite. Like, where do you find Capcom's like number? It's just in the yellow pages. Love it. And I mean, before we get into this further, Dan, I got to tell you, this is a problem you're going to face your whole gaming life, my friends. You just got to pull the trigger on a game and, enjoy it while you can before the next one comes out. Anyway, Dan continues. First, I called the Capcom Street Fighter 2 hotline, and the recorded message says you can't play character versus character. Second, then I called the Nintendo Game Counselor number, and they said that there is no code. You must be reading EGM. Wow. Third, I got the Big Ends magazine, and In their lengthy multi-page article on Street Fighter 2, nowhere did it mention this trick. Fourth, boy, this guy's getting his money in for this letter. Come on, Dan, you're taking up the whole damn page. Fourth, I got the new issue of another magazine, and their player in his review of Street Fighter said, "Nor can you play a character against himself." I want to believe you about this rumored character versus character trick, but unfortunately, everybody seems to be against you. You've gone up against the rest of the game world before. But what about this time? Does this trick really exist? We can laugh now at poor Dan, but this was a huge deal because, like we talked about before, if you were a Guile player and somebody was playing Guile and completely dominating, you couldn't be your favorite character. So let's see what the response is. Dude, trust us. You are right that we have gone up against the whole industry in the past, and this is just another example of us printing something that companies or other magazines either don't know about or don't want you to know about. In this case, we got the information straight from our contacts at Capcom of Japan. As the column is being written, Capcom has finally acknowledged on their Street Fighter 2 hotline. And ladies and gentlemen, there is the phone number. If you want to call it right now to confirm this rumor, it's 1-900-680-2583. I'm not responsible for the long distance charges, but feel free to call it. And this trick really does exist. Also, by the time you read this, the other magazines will most likely have printed the trick, and it's probably that the LQ is now on a steady diet of crow. Oh my God. Factory Ruins, welcome on in. Howdy. Indo Nerd says EGM and GamePro had the dope cover art. Yeah. GamePro was interesting. Some of the art for me was good, some not so good. But I think EGM still is definitely the best. Okay, so there you go. I guess the trick exists. I don't know. We're gonna find out. Okay, we're gonna move on from Street Fighter. As much as I want to talk about it, I feel like everything we've read so far is about Street Fighter. Where else can we go? Where are? All right, Jeff Anderson from Arizona. While your magazine is way cool, and I chose to read it more than the competition's efforts, I've noticed something peculiar. I frequently read the ads for mail order game companies to get an idea of what may eventually make its way to Japan, to the States. The ad lists some titles that are interesting. They include Tecmo World Cup Soccer and Ninja Gaiden for the Mega Drive, and Strider 2, and Stormlord 2 for the Genesis. My question to you is, why haven't you mentioned a word about these games? Doesn't the fact that the companies are willing to spend money to advertise these games prove that they exist somewhere? Don't give me anything like lead times or companies updating their ads. Does the industry have the edge on you? Or you have the edge on the industry? Explain. Oh my God. There's a lot of I don't want to call it trolling, but there's definitely a lot of angry people. I look, Cutthroat, I know it's the big debate. I always called it Ninja Gaiden, but when I did the history of Ninja Gaiden, I called it Gaiden so I wouldn't get roasted in the comments. But I've always called it Gaiden. So there you go. There you go. I like one-on-one fight. Okay, so there's going to be one big answer to like these three letters here. So this next one is from Joseph Jen from California. Ninja Gaiden. Yeah. I think that dude, Indo Nerd and Matt, I think that dude, okay, Follow me here, okay? That dude from The Wizard that says Ninja Gaiden, ha! Is he not the bald gentleman from the Seinfeld episode where George tries to reverse into the parking spot and the bald dude tries to pull in head first, and they were both going to Jerry's house to watch the boxing match? Do you remember that one? Is he not the bald gentleman from that episode? I believe he's also in the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Is that the same guy? I wish I knew his name. Does anybody know? It's always kind of drove me crazy. Okay, so if you guys know, let me know. Let's continue with Joseph Jen from California. I like one-on-one fighting games. I like the Tin Men. No, I'm just kidding. Capcom has finally made Street Fighter 2, and it is excellent. What I want to know is they say they will rate ramen. Oops. Oh, I forget this again. 1/2 for the Super Nintendo. By the way, in your video game high scores column, what does SASA mean? The guy was mad, underrated Ninja Gaiden. Okay, so nobody knows what I'm talking about. It's good. I'm going to look it up after this. It's all good. It's an obscure Seinfeld reference, but he's also in that D&D movie. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. I don't know. Always kind of bugged me. Congratulations on doing a spectacular job of covering Street Fighter 2. I am one of your veteran readers, and I would like to ask, I would like one question answered. Is it just me, or does the Mega CD game Thunderstorm bear an amazing resemblance to the old Laserdisc coin-op Cobra Command? Okay, I don't know what that has to do with the other two letters, but I guess we're going to get to all three of them. Danjamin, good morning. Happy Sunday. Cheers to you. Hope you have your coffee ready to go. Is that what self-addressed stamp envelope? Well, isn't this a game though? Huh. Well, we're gonna figure it out. He sounds like a brown noser cutthroat. Yeah. Well, there's one sucking up to them, and the other one's trying to roast them. It's funny. Lots of good questions here, guys, regarding the missing games. Please note that we are doing our best to get the latest and most complete information and photos to the current and planned Japanese and US carts to you each month. Come on, they're trying their best. And you guys are just writing letters, yelling at them. Well, you missed the one space shooter. Come on. They only gave you like everything else. Ease up on my guy, Steve. Ease up on Ed. Anyway, some games may slip through the cracks and some may be far off in the future that all the companies have is a license or a game name. But we try to get you this scoop on all the great games that realistically will be coming out in the next 6 months. A lot of games that you mentioned were first shown at the Summer Consumer Electronics Show and the Summer Tokyo Toy Show, and they were a long ways from production. Over the past few months, we have been talking about most of the games that you mentioned. And for instance, we ran photos on the Mega Drive at Tecmo World Cup Soccer way back in issue 32, March of 92 to be exact. As for those games we didn't talk about, we plan to resolve that in the very near future. Joe, there is great news for you. We haven't just heard that IRM will do translating and bringing over the Super Nintendo version of Ranma Half. I forget what you guys called it last week. What did you guys call it? Ranma Half? 1/2? Batstan knew. Stay tuned for more info in the coming months. Oh, SASC stands for self-addressed stamped envelope. I bet you, Den, that guy who wrote that in feels so dumb because this was like his one chance to get a letter published in the pages of EGM. And he probably thought it was like some like cool new game. And it's just a self-addressed stamp envelope. He was probably like, oh, dude, that was my one shot. Oh, no. Very observant, Marcus. I'm going to tell you, if this microphone keeps going down, I'm going to lose my mind. Where were we? I lost it. I lost my spot. Very observant, Marcus. You are right in saying that the Japanese game Thunderstorm FX looks like Cobra Command. It is. In fact, Renovation will be doing it as a Sega CD game later this year. See page 78 for more picks, more hot picks. And they plan on changing the game name back to Cobra Command for the US version. Interesting. JP says I'm writing a strongly worded letter to them. Well, there's probably a pretty good chance that yours would get on here. Indo Nerd says Electronic Gaming Monthly and Kohl's Bookstore went hand in hand in the 90s. Missed that boat. Missed that boat, buddy. That was like a couple gens after for me personally. That was reading like the Next Gen magazine and like the Xbox magazine and stuff like that. Because there was always some dude who opened the plastic. Remember, they started coming in plastic. But for me, Electronic Gaming Monthly and Game Pro, those were at the variety store by my house and by my high school. And then EGM got smart and, started wrapping them in plastic. Even if they were loose and I did read them, I would have bought it anyway. What is this thing? What a catch. Oh, it's for people. It's cheating football. What's up, Dale? Jay's getting upset. Yeah, this is for people who can't catch a football. Well, I would say learn how to catch a football. This is lame. Next. The review crew. All right, let's get into it. Our absolute favorite part. There we go. Our favorite part of the magazine, at least it's mine. So I usually do Steve and Ed. So we're going to do Steve and Ed here. I'm not upset. It's just my microphone on this program. I've said this for weeks now. It keeps auto turning down. I don't know why. I've turned all the noise cancellation filters off, but it keeps dropping the volume. It doesn't do this for the game streams, just on this program. I'm looking more and more into getting rid of this one, I think. Anyway, you guys don't have to worry about that. Let me worry about that. Okay. So let's read Steve. Who else do you guys want me to read? You guys let me know. I'll read Steve and one other. And let's go to the poll right here where I said choose between Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Odyssey, and Super Mario Galaxy 2. And Galaxy has won at 47 friggin' percent. I would have picked Sunshine, but I know nobody really likes that one. I just like the summertime vibe. I do. All right, Moistly, welcome. Sushi X sounds fun. Let's do him. So what has Steve been up to this past month? Steve made news by beating Martin's LC, I guess that's his last name, at Street Fighter 2. The girls admire Martin's new Sharon Stone look, though. What? Basic Instinct isn't out yet, is it? Is it? Anyway, and Sushi. As soon as Sushi heard that Mortal Kombat is on test here in Chicago, he flew in just to give it a try. Adios, Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. So our first game we're going to review has got the Editor's Choice Gold Award. So way to go, Space Megaforce by Toho for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Odyssey is a Kirby game. Yeah. Odyssey is good, and I'll say Factory, it's one that I haven't given enough time to, and I feel guilty about that. I really haven't sat down. I think I've played it twice. Once I really kind of tried to get into it. I think I streamed it once, but yeah, I got to play Odyssey. And Galaxy 2, I don't think I ever did play. If I did, it wasn't for long. Factory, there you go. You picked Sunshine. Yeah. Sunshine is amazing. It's friggin' hard, but it's good. Aaron, welcome on in. You had the Velcro catch tennis ball. I had that as well. Shout out to the Velcro tennis rackets wherever you are in the world. Okay, Space Mega Force. Steve gave it an 8. This game really goes over the top. I've never been too keen on any of the blasters on the Super NES, so it wasn't hard for this game to take first place. But I was really blown away by the depth and the weapons and the alien attacks. Excuse me, the game's earlier levels are way too easy, but the thrills are a must-have for any shooter fan. Okay, help me out here. Versetti. Tommy? Oh my God, what? Tommy subbed to the channel. Tommy, I love you. You're the best video game character of all time. Thank you for the sub. Help me out here. Space Megaforce? What is that? I can't even picture the box art. Do you guys know this game? I remember Toho, but this one doesn't sound familiar. All these space shooters, they kind of start to blend together for me after a while. Like I said, I kind of put them aside, right? After I found Blazing Lasers and later on discovered Gun Knack for the NES. They're just so good. I was just like, you never heard of it either? Oh, that's your buddy, Josh? Tommy Versetti's your buddy? Oh my God. You guys have never heard of them either. Yeah. We got another one too, Strike Gunner. Okay, well, fair. I'm not the only one then. Okay, so Sushi gives it a 9. I mean, it got great reviews. Awesome. These special Mode 7 effects will really blow you away. Forget about all the others this year. This is the shooter to look forward to in 1992. Kicking music complements this high-powered shoot 'em up. Big, huge bosses light up the screen, and incredible power-ups are to be found everywhere. I'm not saying that last word. I'm not saying it. You guys can say it in the chat. I'm not saying it. I refuse to say it. I dislike. I don't want to tell you. You guys might get mad at me, but I dislike Wayne's World so much. Oh my God. That's the one movie from the 90s that, like, even when it was out, I was embarrassed. And I'm no stranger to those, I love like Billy Madison and all that stuff, which is like cheesy now, sure. But Wayne's World, everyone was saying that in high school, man. That last word, see it on Sushi's. I'm not saying it. Everyone was saying that, and they were doing the little crotch thing. Just come on, man. Oh my God, Indo Nerd, no. It's got nothing to do with Mike Myers or Dana Carvey or anybody that's in it. I just, it's like a lot of those. This is my opinion. It's like a lot of those skits from SNL that became movies. Like, I don't really feel like most of them needed to become movies. I get why, because money is good. But do you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's a pretty cool concept about two rock dudes who have a cable show in their basement, like Tom Green stuff, man, original Tom Green stuff, right? This is like completely amazing because we all wished we had like a TV station or a radio station pump up the volume. But I didn't like the catchphrases, and I found it really, really kind of embarrassing. Yeah, see, look, this one, Jet's got it. Look at this one. Remember that? Do you remember that? And then there was like Night at the Roxbury. What other SNL movies? Oh, wasn't there like what's his name? Rob Schneider. Wasn't there like Bruce Gigolo, male Digolo or something like that? Tommy Boy was not an SNL skit. Neither was Black Sheep. They had SNL actors. Those weren't skits. Josh says, but Tia Carrera on the bass and singing. Yeah, dude. And I'm saying, like, the actors were fine. She was a shining part of that movie for sure. Matt says, I'm not a huge SNL fan, so any of those SNL movies go by the wayside for me. Yeah. Oh, Mutron's got it. It is Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo. I don't even want to know what I called it. Oh, look at this guy, like Night at the Roxbury. Come on. Come on. Night at the Roxbury. I'm trying to think of another one. Oh, Rob Schneider is not my cup of tea. Mutron, no. Yeah, he's in a lot of the Adam Sandler movies. You guys, I'm sure, have seen Grandma's Boy, which I still love to this day. But he plays the landlord, and even Grandma's Boy, I'm just like, it's just cringe when he's on screen. Yeah, everyone loves Tia Carrera, man. She was awesome. Remember, she had that show where she was like Lara Croft. Oh, what was that called, guys? Come on. Blues Brothers was awesome. 100%. Wake Up's got it. What was the Tia Carrera, Lara Croft / Indiana Jones show? Relic Hunter. This guy knows everything. Look at this. Relic Hunter. Yes. Yep. Matt says, dude's real name is Poo Poo Bigelow. He had to change it for legal reasons. To be honest, I'm not an Adam Sandler fan either. Old school Sandler, I will say. I don't even know if I could say that. Again, nothing against his comedy. I think he's funny. But Billy Madison and then Happy Gilmore, I still think is a true classic. Happy Gilmore still holds up today. Billy Madison is a little embarrassing. It's a little embarrassing, but you can get through it. And then he did like Big Daddy and all that, and I kind of just lost interest. And then you get into the late 90s with like Little Nicky and all that, and I can't do it. I can't do it. You're in a silly mood this morning, Factory. Well, you're in the right place. What did you say? What did I miss? Oh, Juice Bigelow, Male Gilmore was money, 100%. I agree. And they're doing a second one. They're doing a second one. I've seen Ben Stiller and his makeup. He's still the guy at the nursing home. I don't know, man. Anyway, we'll have to see. It's probably going to fall under the category of Christmas Story or like Saturday Night Fever for me, where I will not watch the sequel because I can't have the original tarnished. Do you know what I mean? Shooter should have got his own movie. Well, we saw what happened, Indo. Remember when the Christmas Vacation sequel that no one talks about, where it was all about Cousin Eddie? Do you remember that? Don't watch it, dude. It's like opening the Ark and looking into it. When Indy says, "Don't look at it, Indo, keep your eyes shut," and you're like, "No way, Indy, I want to look in there," and then you're done, right? Just don't do it. Listen to Indiana Jones. Okay. Strike Gunner, moving on from NTVIC. I don't even know who that is. I don't remember that company. But Steve gives it a 4. This game has a cool intro. Again, it looks like a shooter. Yeah, it's a 2-player shooter. No, please. Bring up stuff. I like it when we just go off the rails. Mutron. Yeah, I love it. It's my favorite part of the Sunday mornings is honestly when we just talk. And that's what I like about the EGMs is because we don't know what's on the next page. And it often springs up conversations like this. I love it. This game has a cool intro, but the game doesn't hold up very well. Besides being incredibly easy, with never more than a handful of enemy intruders on the screen at any one time, the backgrounds lack any real detail. The gameplay is further weakened by poor weapon progression and bad execution. Not for me. Steve gives it a 4. And Sushi X gives it a 7. Cool. Shooters are definitely coming around since last year's absolute nosedive in the shooter quality. Strike Gunner has many qualities that would have made it for the top running game, but it lacks the difficulty necessary for lasting interest. If you are the type who must have every shooter ever made, don't miss it. And isn't it amazing how just speed running popped into my head when he said, it's too easy to have any kind of long lasting appeal. It made me think of a few games for speed running and how fans keep the games that they love alive by creating stuff like speedrunning. Shout out to all the friggin' speedrunners out there. I love you all, and I aspire to be like you someday. Little Nicky has a banging soundtrack. I don't remember who's on that. Chris Gethens. I don't know who the hell that is. Mods, get him out of here. It's someone's secret identity. We'll never tell Chris your secret identity. Yeah, Factory says speedrunning saved a few games for sure. Yeah, I love it. And you know what? Factory, I've often sat there and thought about games to speedrun. And the only attempt I ever did was Resident Evil 2, the remake. And that was just for fun. I had a blast training up to that. And when I say training, I think I practiced it for a couple of weeks. It was nothing huge. But I definitely want to do a speed run. I just got to pick that game, guys. I got to pick that game. Den's avatar's a speed runner, so I've heard. She's speed ran so many games that she created her own genre. I don't know what I'm saying. That wasn't very funny. Give me the Price is Right fail noise. Soul Blazer by Enix. Before the big merger with Square, they were on their own. Soul Blazer. Okay, why don't I recognize this one? I'm assuming it's some kind of RPG. You've been chosen to restore the 6 stones. 8 levels. Oh, maybe it's like a Zelda action RPG style. At any rate, it got really good ratings. Steve gave it an 8. I found the duality of the adventure contained within Soul Blazer to be amazingly addictive. The action never really overtakes the role-playing portion of the game, and that segment of play isn't extremely challenging. But there is an addictive quality in the liberation of a village and its mysteries. That grew on me. Hey guys, do me a favor. Hit that like button, please. If you're enjoying the stream, I love you. Thank you so much. Sushi X gave it an 8. Soul Blazer is, let's take 2. Soul Blazer is the answer for you Zelda fans who need more excitement. Oh, shots fired. Shots fired. It may not be better, but at least you can entertain yourself for about 4 hours or so. That's very specific, Sushi X. Soul Blazer features excellent graphics and music, but lacks in quest depth. Look around for its shelf appearance and snatch it up while it's still hot. I'm not saying that one either. He's doing all I know it's 92, okay? And he's saying all the Wayne's World things. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Yeah, thank you, Josh. You guys can follow along. Retromags.com. The most amazing magazine collection for historic video game magazines you'll ever find on the internet. Pete, how you doing? Good to see you, dude. Soul Blazer is awesome, part of a loosely linked trilogy with illusions of Gaia and Terraniga. I pronounced that second one wrong, which is amazing, but never came out to the US. Wow, okay. Man, thanks for that info. Didn't know that. That's awesome. Joe and Mac for the NES. Yeah, Joe and Mac is quite an awesome game. I rented it a few times on Super Nintendo. This is, of course, by Data East. Terra Enigma. Thank you. Appreciate that. Sometimes my reading, it's not so good over here. I am, after all, a product of the Canadian school system. Shout out to JT. All right, so this is a conversion of Joe and Mac for the NES, and we're teetering on mediocrity here. So Steve gives it a 6. It's tough to judge this new 8-bit era entry next to its bigger 16-bit cousin because of the differences in graphics and play control. But the overall premise remains valid and the action somewhat enjoyable. Many of the sections were tedious to maneuver and the game was way too short, but interesting enough to be playable. 92. So I'm trying to think how expensive this one is for collecting. It's not too bad. It's an uncommon game to find. But again, the later entry NES stuff, good or bad, generally is very expensive because everyone was playing Genesis and Super Nintendo. 5 from Sushi X. Somehow the appeal just isn't here. Joe and Mac is a really cute game, but it isn't the same. The graphics need to be a little smoother for a grand rating. But it will suffice to say that Joe and Mac is a good game for kids. I cannot see a serious gamer getting a real charge out of this version. Yeah, the Super Nintendo one is pretty close to the arcade. Pretty close. I'm just trying to think if I ever played it. And I remember very early on, guys, that graphics didn't mean the world to me. So I'm just thinking if I ever did rent this just to compare. I must have back in the day sometime. Do you ever sit there and just think and try to do a rough calculation on how much money you spent on renting, either in mom and pop shops or like Blockbuster? Have you guys ever done that? I would say on average, for years, at least $10 a week. I think that's safe to say. Since games were, I think, $3.75 to rent Canadian around there, and I would have rented 2, maybe 3 if I was lucky. Definitely more when I discovered Microplay, which is a Canadian rental / retailer, and 2 when I got my first job. You know, before I was working, I would go with my mom, and if you were good, you got a game rental, of course, once a week. If you were good, you got 2. That's if you were really good. But when I got the job, yeah, the floodgates opened because it was really great. You could rent games for $3.75 and you could try them out. Jet says I got them free when I worked at Blockbuster. Yeah, that's cool. I'm with you there. When I worked at Microplay, the same deal. We got to take games home. We got to take hardware home and try it out. Just awesome stuff. Okay, moving on to B52, which is an unlicensed game by Camerica for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Most of these games are pretty not great. Steve gives it a 5. Okay, I'll give this game the award for the most interesting premise, but peel away the theme and you're basically got a game with some unique overtones, but no real excitement. The graphics aren't anything to boast of, and I just couldn't find enough action to satisfy my palate. So refined, Steve. Younger kids might go for it, though. And Sushi X with 6. B52 is about the cutest game out this month. Where else can you become a bee searching for the next nectar nest, challenging the call of the wild bug world? Unlike boring shooters, as the title suggests, B52 has more technique involved, searching for honey, fending off ants and other pests. And I'm not saying that word either. He's got all the buzzwords. I'm not saying it. Was I able to test stuff out at EB? No. When I got hired there in 2003, they just ended their, what's it called? With staff, you were able to sign out used games. Never new, but staff were able to sign out used games. And then when Will and I got hired the same year, and when we came in, it had just ended because you guessed it, staff were signing games out, not bringing them back, or just taking them and not signing them out. So basically, I got kiboshed. That's the story I was told anyway. So no, we weren't. We got to play like demo units and stuff, and sometimes after close, we would take used games and switch them. Like take the Xbox game out that was supposed to be in there playing, and we would try out whatever game. We weren't supposed to do that. We did, but yeah, no. I mean, that would have made sense if we were allowed to take stuff home, but we never were. Soul Blazer, we already did this. Oh, B-52, my bad. My bad. Global Gladiators. Oh, there we go. We got NHL 93, Josh. There you go. But before we get to that, Global Gladiators by Virgin for the Sega Genesis, 6. There are two sides to this game. One, it has the most awesome graphics and sound that have come along since Sonic. The look and feel of the game is truly impressive. Two, the controls are not as accurate and responsive as they should be. The character moves too fast for his own good, looks great, plays average. Well, let me tell you something. If you have no control in any game, you have nothing. Wait a minute. Look at that picture. Is that right? That's the McDonald's logo. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is it. Meet the two greatest grime fighters in the world, Mick and Mac, armed with a glop gun and tons of courage. Or is that just an M? Does that not look like the Golden Arches? Do you guys see what I'm looking at here? So the Global Gladiators pick, if you can see it. Again, you can follow along at retromags.com, but that looks like a McDonald's logo. 8 from Sushi X. Yeah, it is. Anyone smell French fries? Mick and Mac are back. Oh, this is the sequel to What Mick Kids on NES. Wow. One look at this crisp graphics and smooth animation, and I got hungry for more. This is the type of environmentally aware game that belongs in the family. What a great way to spend a positive message in a fun format. And I'm not saying that word again. Stop with the Wayne's World, man. Yeah, we haven't seen Den's avatar in a while. I've heard that she has purchased the Cobra Rattler and the Wild Weasel outfit. So we're going to have to get Grand Theft Auto back. But good news, my friends. Starting this Thursday, we're going to have the 12 days of gaming. 12 streams in a row each day, 9 a.m. Eastern, and a special Santa Claus giveaway from our pals at Game Cycle. Starting this Thursday for the 12 days leading up to when Santa Claus comes down the chimney. Versetti, what's going on? Buddy pretty much set up his basement with all the Halo 1 merch from EB. All that was missing was the register. Really? That's pretty sick. Yeah, I got a couple buddies who are like crazy over Halo. USA Basketball by EA. Ooh, Steve didn't like this one too much. Didn't like it too much. 5. This game plays poorly compared to EA's other entries in their sports series. I'm sure it's a great license, but passing and shooting action is complicated by slow movement and a general lack of realism in any of the characters. There are some cool functions at your disposal, but I found it to be less than an attractive package. 5. USA Basketball, I guess that's what, the Olympics? I don't know. I played like Lakers versus Celtics. Bulls versus Lakers, those were great games, but I never played USA basketball. I'm guessing it's either college or it's Olympics. 7 from Sushi X. Not bad, EA, but you've done better. The feel of USA basketball got lost somewhere. Previous titles have had very smooth transitions, while USA basketball feels a little choppy. Still, I love the idea of the game, and any avid basketball fan with a Sega Genesis would be going nuts right about now with all the choices. Wayne's World Word. Here you are, sports fans, hockey fans. We're here. One of my favorite series on the Sega Genesis is NHL Hockey. Shout out to NHL 95, which I still think is the best, even though there is that bug that kind of kills your season halfway through the season. I still feel that NHL 95 is the best. And I know most of you will probably say 94, but I disagree. What's this? Wake up. My Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4 was too fast to control on Gran Turismo. I missed with the gear ratios and it was a rocket. I do not play Gran Turismo, but I do play Grand Theft Auto Online, which I know is not realistic in terms of the way the car handles, but I tend to not want to mess with the factory defaults for that very reason, right? Okay, NHL 93. Now, this was the sequel to NHL Hockey, and the difference in this one was in the first NHL, you had the NHL license, you had the teams, but you didn't have the players, you just had the numbers. And in this one, I don't know if they couldn't afford both or what it was, some weird licensing thing, but they didn't have the teams, which was a huge mistake. But they got the actual players' names. You guys remember that? This is where NHL took off. Yes. Was this the Indo? Was this the one with the one timer? Whatever one started the one timer for me, that was the one. It was like that's all anybody did. You would come around the net, right, and then one time it to your wing. Boom! It was like opposite corner goal almost every time. Oh, that's just a crappy pitcher, Dangerman, for sure. Or do you mean just in general? Yeah, this pitcher's not that great. 94 was the one timer? Okay. Yeah, 93 I feel is the one that gets talked about the least. Next to did you guys know? I'm sure you did. There was an NHL 98. That was the last one on Genesis. But 96, 97, and 98 pretty much don't get talked about at all because obviously we were into the Saturn, the PlayStation. We had next gen stuff like that, 3DO and all that kind of thing, right? So did anybody play NHL 96, 97, or 98 on Genesis? 98 is valuable. One timer goal every time. It was so great. We'll get into the reviews here where you guys are reminiscent about the old NHL. Oh, and for me, by the way, it was all about the Chicago Blackhawks. That was my favorite team. Jeremy Roenick, Chris Chelios, and there was someone else. It would always be Chelios to Roenick, one timer. It was like every single time. That was my team. 8. This game does a much better job of blending the accuracies of the sport with the play mechanics that is easy to pick up and have fun with. It's a boosted up version of their previous hockey effort, but new perspectives and more options make it a worthy investment that is addictive in its 2-player mode. Oh, Canadians Indo. Yeah, it's all about Patrick Roy. And remember Captain Kirk? What was his name, dude? Was it what was his name? They used to call him Captain Kirk on the Canadians. Moisley for me. Okay. For me, when I get into a sport, I should say every time I've got into a sport, it's been because of a video game. So I remember playing NHL, it would have been one of these. And for whatever reason, I would have played the Blackhawks. And I loved the way Roenick controlled. I didn't know anything about hockey really or watch it much. But so for me, it was like I fell in love with that character. So the Blackhawks became my thing. Like wrestling, like the WWF, like No Mercy and WrestleMania 2064. Those games made me love Triple H, who's still my favorite wrestler, because he was just so awesome in the game. So it's like the opposite of most people, where most people who like sports already have their team. But for me, it was discovering these players in the game. Kirk Muller, thanks, guys. Captain Kirk. Yeah, my buddy had a Captain Kirk poster, and it was Kirk Muller. Yeah. Burke is a better goalie than Patrick Waugh. Sure. I believe you, dude. I have no idea. I remember Grant Fuhr was pretty good back in the day. Ron Hextall. I used to like Ron Hextall from the Flyers. Don't ask me why. It was a brief period when I wanted to be a goalie. Very brief. Anyway, moving on to Sushi X. It would appear that EA has managed to improve their smash hit of the ice rink. The sounds are unbelievable. The echo of the puck hitting the wall is perfect. The instant replay also captures funny moments, like a photographer taking a picture of a hockey player being beamed with the puck. Classic. It's pronounced wa. It's French. That's how you pronounce it. Yeah, Wall was awesome. Again, my buddy was the Canadiens guy. So he had wait, if memory serves me correctly, wasn't Chelios on the Canadiens and then he got traded to the Blackhawks? Marty Brodeur. I don't know who that is. That name doesn't sound familiar. You guys remember the friggin' amazing mid-90s cult classic Swingers? Everyone remembers Swingers. Remember the dudes would play, I think it was 95. It was NHL. No, it must have been NHL 94. Remember before they went to the clubs, they'd always play NHL 94? And Vince Vaughn's character, his big goal was to get Gretzky's head to bleed. Oh, man, that movie was awesome. Shout out to Swingers. '96? No, I don't think it was '96. Was it? Did the movie come out in '96? Swingers, yeah. I'm so money. Yeah, see, those catchphrases don't bother me. Oh my god! And like, I don't want to get into a whole Swingers thing. Oh, Versetti. All right, thanks, mate. So then it was probably my favorite. It was probably NHL '95 they were playing then. Yeah, it's so cool, right? I mean, God, I'm going back to all those incredible movies that we got in the 90s that were like just so different from anything we'd ever seen. Like these whole day in the life concept movies, right? Like the first one I remember seeing was Dazed and Confused, right? Richard Linklater. It was just a day in the life of these kids on the last day of high school. Fell in love with that movie. It's still one of my favorite movies. Clerks, of course. I remember ironically going to Blockbuster and seeing the black and white standee. And I was like, what the hell is this? And it's like, the tagline was like, just because they serve you doesn't mean they like you or whatever. And I rented that. I'm like, what is this? We're just observing these people in pretty much an everyday environment. Like this guy works at a convenience store. This other guy works at a video store. And they made a movie about a day in their lives? How amazing was it? I would put Swingers in that category again. A day or two in the life of these just regular guys. Versetti watched Days while skipping. Yeah, buddy. We used to have a rule, Versetti, where we couldn't watch Dazed unless it was the summertime because it takes place in the summer. And that film would just make us want to grab a 2-4. It was like this power over us and it was incredible. So we would like sit there all summer long when we go out to the bars. That mood, man. TJC, what is going on? Josh Kids is another one. Yep. I know you're a fan of that one. Kids is another crazy movie, right? Smith's dialogue is fantastic. In that movie, yeah. Yeah, Clerks is like one of a kind. By the way, this stealth controller sucks. I'm still trying to look for one. Look at the American flag on it. It's got like the stealth logo. We've seen this for like 4 or 5 issues now. It's terrible. Super Monaco GP2, sequel to one of my favorite Genesis games at the time, which was Super Monaco. Never did play the second one. And here we go, Cutthroat. We got a couple turbo games. So let's start off with Monaco and Steve. It gets a 6. I really wanted a brand new game when I plugged in Monaco 2. Instead, you get some new tracks and tunes as well as digitized pictures of Siena every other screen. While I like the overall execution of the game, the play mechanics are definitely outdated, and it just didn't seem to get the same thrill that I did before. Damn. And a 5 from Sushi X, who didn't like it either. This game should have been an let's start again. This game should have been all new instead of just a redo of Super Monaco GP. Siena needs some major graphic enhancements before I give it the seal of approval. That's the girl's name that's in it, I assume, right? I don't know. In this, all you do is push left, you push right, and then back again. Not terribly exciting for the 90s type of racing game. I want action and digitized sounds and options. All right, let's move on. Jackie Chan for the TurboGrafx 16. This, I think, is just like an action platformer, I believe. I don't really remember. Do you guys remember this one? I mean, we're getting towards the end of the Turbo here. Now, we still have a couple years before Hudson called it quits, but this was definitely later stuff that, I hate to say it, as much as I do love the TurboGrafx, I didn't play most of this later run stuff. Again, you only got so much money, right? And time. Jackie Chan gets a 5 from Steve. There's nothing inherently wrong with this title, but the look and feel of the action, it just isn't there. The pace and movements of the characters are just out of sync with reality in this way, and it's annoying. If there is something wholly unique of Jackie Chan, I would give it a thumbs up. Instead, I rate this game as passable at best. I wouldn't say a 5 is passable. I would say that is average. I would say a pass would be 6, but that's me. Raj is here. Welcome in, my friend. The happiest guy on YouTube. Good to see you, you fellow legend. No, I have not. No. Sorry, mate. Yeah, not yet. We're just kind of doing like the Christmas movies now, and we throw in horror movies too. But no, I haven't checked it out yet. Sushi X hated this game. Fail. 4. This is the type of game I've learned to avoid ever since I was a little kid. Jackie Chan's one saving grace is that a young child might find it fun, but I sure don't. The head bigger than the body phase is long since gone, and I see no appeal for this. This type of game just doesn't make the Japan to US translation very well. 4. Yeah, Jackie Chan's, I think it's called Action Kung Fu. Big fail. What was Cutthroat? What was his first movie? No, hang on. Let me rephrase that. The first movie I remember was Rumble in the Bronx. I know he's done a lot. I'm just saying the first movie I remember, like here in North America, where he kind of blew up here, was Rumble in the Bronx. And this would have been way before that. Because Rumble in the Bronx would have been like what, mid 90s? I don't know. Anyone know? Natopia 2. Natopia was one of the bigger games on the TurboGrafx. This was Legend of Zelda clone, 100%. Gets a 7. This is Turbo Technologies Incorporated. They rebranded. NEC took a fly, got the heck out of there. Hudson was left, and they rebranded it Turbo Technologies Incorporated. So this is where we're at. This is where we're going to start to get into the Turbo Duo in the last gasp of life left in the TurboGrafx. Really a sad time, because I think had NEC just given Hudson a little bit of money, a little bit more money to put into advertising, I think the history of the TurboGrafx would have been a lot brighter. Nonetheless, I still love it, so here we go. Turbo Technologies Incorporated hasn't taken too much of a stretch with this entry for the Turbo system. The play mechanics are virtually identical, combining RPG overtones with simple yet effective battle action sequences. I enjoyed the original and found it a lot like the sequel, but beyond the length of the game, there's little revolutionary here. Yeah. Anybody play Natopia 1? Let alone the second one. I put on Natopia 2 with the Turbo Mini there when we were streaming our Turbo Day a couple months back. We tried Natopia 2, but it's just boring to me. It doesn't have the personality of Legend of Zelda whatsoever. And if you're going to make a game that's 16-bit like this to try and compete with Zelda when you have A Link to the Past out, you need a bit more story elements too. You know what I'm saying? 6. All right. Who decided to make yet another Zelda clone adventure? Natopia has many redeeming qualities like cute music, good graphics, albeit poor animation, and a detailed quest. Still, it lacks the originality so many real adventurers have come to expect from software publishers around the world. Another Wayne's World word that I will not say. 6. Anybody who wants to call Electronic Gaming Monthly, please pick up that phone right now. I am not responsible for long distance charges. We got a Neo Geo game. That's a rough picture, man. Oof, that's awful. King of the Monsters 2 is like a fighting game with Godzilla monsters. For anyone who doesn't know. Whoa, this got roasted for the Neo Geo. A 5 from Steve. It may be an unfair comparison, but in a world populated with great fighting games like Street Fighter II, SNK should have set higher sights for this sequel. Without the wide variety of moves and secret attacks, this game basically became little more than a gimmick that, while a well done improvement, failed to hold my interest. Blah, 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 blah. Moistly, yeah, you were more of a PC guy. Jealous about that for sure. My computer couldn't run my Aunt Connie. And we tried. Never had a decent PC growing up. And a 5 from Sushi X as well. What's wrong with this picture? King of the Monsters 2 is light years better than the first, but the first, I want more characters, more scenes, better soundtracks, and arcade quality if I'm going to shell out the big bucks for this cartridge. King of the Monsters 2 does not ring true as an arcade game with so few options. 5. And it's good that EGM can really see through. I don't want to call the Neo Geo a gimmick. It's not, but it's so far ahead of the other two or the other systems in terms of graphics and sound and all that. It's really great that they can see through all those bells and whistles and just say, okay, you know what? If you strip away all the tinsel and all the shiny colors, it's still just a below average game. You're going to get Godzilla in Fortnite coming up soon, buddy. I think January he pops in. Bionic Commando by Capcom, this time for the Game Boy. 8. This game really does succeed in properly executing the Bionic Commando theme on a smaller Game Boy screen. Whoa, that was rough. Not much has been done to alter the original premise of the NES game, and the graphics and play are well detailed and challenging. This is indeed one of the better Game Boy titles to come along in some time. There we go. We got an 8 from our guys at Capcom. Good stuff. And Sushi gave it a 7. Cooley, Apu. I love this game. I don't know what that's from. Everyone has forgotten the excellent NES title until now when you can take it on the road. No offense, Capcom, but Nintendo had better get their gear soon and release a color Game Boy, because colorful titles like Bionic Commando get hacked on tiny black and white screens. The terminology I can only assume, meaning it just gets torn to pieces. It looks terrible. Who wins a battle between Trypticon or Godzilla? Trypticon. Hands down. Godzilla is still an organic. Even if Trypticon doesn't fight him in his, what is it, a T-Rex or whatever he is, he would just transform and blow him to bits. Kung Food for the Atari Lynx by Atari. 5. The idea behind this game is well executed, and it's interesting to see what would be like if we placed in the Kung Fu environment. But essentially, we got a kick and punch quest that fails to ignite any real sparks. Better use of the Lynx functions could have netted a higher rating, but as an action game, it's all right. And then 7 from Sushi. I've never heard of Kung Fu. Or if I have heard of it, it's completely wiped from my memory banks. This is a game that takes food fights to new heights. As corny as this title is, Kung Fu is really a hot game for the Atari Lynx. It may not be it may not be fighting game of the year, but will hold its own, being the most memorable and definitely laugh for the second. Okay, this will be my last review for a second. I need to chill. Go on and play with your food. I'm not saying the Wayne's World theme. Oh, there's the dirty old ASCII pad. All right. Gotta chill on the reading for a second. Ooh. Yeah, I bet Mechagodzilla couldn't transform into a mobile command center. Trypticon can. And while I have no proof of this, I will say that Trypticon would just transform and disintegrate him. No, I don't need coffee. That's a lot of reading, man. For me, that's a lot of reading. But we're here. We're here, and we're looking at Hot Picks of the Month, sponsored by Electronic Arts Sports Network. This month we have, I love looking at the Nintendo games in where we are in the history of gaming, because all of these are all worth money. Danny Sullivan's Indie Heat, Gargoyles Quest 2 by Capcom, Matchbox Racers, Quattro Arcades, a little rare, Tecmo Super Cup, and WWF Steel Cage Challenge, all worth cash. Well, if I may be honest with you guys, I never got into Godzilla. We used to get a channel, and I've mentioned this before on stream. We would get Cleveland's station for some reason. I guess because Ohio is really only like 5 hours away from here. But it was called WUAB Cleveland, Ohio. And on Saturday afternoons, they would have this strange personality named Soup. And he looked like Superman, but he had like a clown nose. Anyone who remembers this, God help you. But anyway, Soup would always play a couple of movies in the afternoon, and they would most likely be one of the Godzilla movies. I dare you to Google WUAB in Cleveland Cutthroat, Soup's on. You'll see a dude. He's got like boxing shorts on and like a blue onesie. He's supposed to be like a bootleg Superman. See, not one person remembers this character. It's like when I bring up the Great Space Coaster. Nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about. And if you Google the Great Space Coaster, you can't find Lips. It's like my childhood was like a dream. Super Nintendo, we got hits like Soul Blazer, Test Drive 2, Super Mario Kart. They haven't really said much about Mario Kart yet. I wonder if that game will take off. Turbo has New Adventure Island coming out, and we got Soldier Blade. Lynx has Steel Talons. Neo Geo has Andro Dunos. Game Gear has such titles coming out. In September has Chuck Rock. Oh, Sienna's Monaco GP. Sienna must be a racing company. I was thinking she was the model in the game. Jet, you remember it? I remember the song, dude. But yeah, when I try and look at like this was on the same station. That's what I'm saying. Was this whole thing a dream? Maybe. We got Green Dog. I remember Green Dog on Genesis. NHL 93, Smash TV, a beautiful port of the arcade smash hit. Oh no. Gaming gossip. Well, I'm going to tell you guys this right now. I'm 100%, without the shadow of a doubt, 100%. So we're going to take a 5-minute break. Okay. We're going to get into Quarterman, but Quarterman eats up a lot of energy. He just does. So we're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to grab a cup of coffee. So grab a coffee with me and we shall return. Hey, Josh and I and Willie went to Toronto. Check it out. I'll be right back.
Dude, it's packed. Holy cow. Here we are, guys. We've arrived in Toronto, Canada at the Toronto Game Con with fellow streamer Willie Lowe.
Hello.
JP.
How's it going?
We're here. We're game hunting. Okay, so we have, I would say, a pretty big game list. We're going to give you guys our top 3 that we're looking for. Then, of course, we might have a surprise. What are you looking for, buddy? What are you looking for?
I'm going to be on the lookout for Contra. We like to get Zelda on the NES as well. You know what? Final Fantasy Mystic Quest has been on my list for a bit now.
All right, JP. You got 3 that you're looking for?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking for Lemmings on Sega, but I'm also looking for Micro Machine Racings for NES.
Whoa. That's the gold card one.
Yeah? Yes, that's a gold card
okay.
one. Perfect Dark for N64.
Oh, favorite.
And
Jay loves that one.
Something else, maybe I'll keep a bit of a secret.
Okay, I gotta complete the trilogy. I have to go for Ninja Gaiden 3. It's an absolute must CIB.
That'll complete it for you, right?
That will complete it for me. Yeah, Castlevania, after seeing your beautiful CIB Castlevania, I have to get that. Maybe even Dracula's Curse. I had a dream about the Matrix Online. I don't know why, but I feel compelled to get that dead MMO. What's wrong with me?
I don't know what's with your fascination with awful games.
And we've also decided to do kind of a fun little secret game. And we're not going to tell you guys. You guys as the audience will see, but we won't know until the end. So are we ready to go?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's go game hunting.
Hot tops.
Okay, so we got in a little bit early. What are you guys thinking so far?
This is awesome. I'm excited.
Is it hard for you not to look right now?
I know we've been trying not to look, honestly, and we're like, we've been at Big Time Gamer.
But Don's is right here.
And like we catch ourselves every time looking at the case. We're like, stop it.
It's not even open yet. We're spoiling
Wandering
it.
eyes.
The con was loud, to say the least, and it was only going to get louder. This is the first booth, by the way, and we find Castlevania. Now, the box and game were in great shape. It was unfortunately missing the instruction manual. Will chimed in.
You can always try to look for the manual later, right?
I'm thinking to myself, he's got a good point there. This is a tough situation. This is our very first booth. Castlevania for NES is on my list. So I asked the vendor if he'd be kind enough to hold it. He said yes for 1 hour.
Chrono Trigger is 1,000, and there is 1,500. That's not
How much? Show us. What are you looking at?
Chrono Trigger is 1,000. It's got both posters.
Weren't you looking for that?
Yeah, but that's the big ticket item that one day I'll get.
Look at that.
I want one.
That's so awesome, man.
Also, that one.
Yeah. Second one. That's beautiful. Yeah, so I found one that's on the list. It's not super important on the list, but it is there. Strider 2, PlayStation. So that is one. That's a maybe that's lower on the list, but it is here. Fine.
65 for Mortal Kombat 1 on Sega CID.
Oh, nice.
We were so shocked to see one of these in the open at Brody's. Now there's a complete box one.
What's that, buddy?
There's the Turbo Express. There it is. Look at that. If I had had the money, I think that would have been one of the things I would have gone after. What's going on, Rose? How you doing? Welcome on in. Good to see you. Yeah, this guy you don't see at all loose, at least around here. And I don't think I've laid eyes on that box since I was like a kid. But that's just cool. Anyway, you can check out the rest of this video on my YouTube channel. So there you go. Check it out. We're going to continue here. Oh, Rose, I'm doing good. It's been a while. Hope you've been doing well. We shut this again. No, we didn't. There we go. 13. Yeah, that's about right. You got to remember that that's Canadian too, right? So that's about right. Yeah. 1,300. Gaming gossip. Our man, Quarterman, making dreams come true. Taking rumors and spinning them into reality. That's what Quarterman does. Oh, you started doing songs for your channel. That's cool. Are you still playing 7 Days to Die? We stopped playing it. We kind of hit a wall where all of us had like giant castles and we were pretty overpowered. So there's no real end game to that. You know what I mean? There's no raids or bosses or anything. So we wanted to keep playing, but it kind of just fizzled out, unfortunately. Okay. Howdy, game fans. It's me, Quarterman, here to tantalize you with my what? What is that word? Something basket of gaming gossip goodies. Lots to talk about this week, my quarter friends, so don't turn the page. We'll begin with the mega rumor of the month. Word on the street has it that Nintendo and Capcom are rumored to be inking a deal that will bring Street Fighter 2, this 16 meg monstrosity, into the Super NES system box as a pack-in. The Q-Man could dig up few details on how this rumored plan would actually work, but those in the know tell yours truly is that giving Super Mario the heave-ho in favor of the World Warriors was a compromise between the Big N and Capcom to maintain the cart's $80 suggested retail price. More on the news item later. In related Street Fighter 2 news, Capcom has flip-flopped on the idea of offering a special controller specifically made for the game. While they originally had intended to provide a special controller as part of the game, the folks at Capcom scrapped the idea, but will instead be bringing the Street Fighter 2 controller sold separately. Woo-wee! Yeah, I have no idea what that is. Looks like the whiz heads at Nintendo have struck again. What the heck is a whiz head? Guys, help me help you. What's a whiz head? Whatever. The Gaming Goliath is now rumored to be shipping a new development system called the Quad. What the heck is the Quad? Which will enable developers to display graphics and generate sounds light years ahead of anything we've seen before. No word on whether the Super Nintendo Quad games when they'll start hitting, but it looks like for anything, it will be before next year. Looking for Camerica to breathe new life into existing 8-bit Nintendo consoles sometime later this year. Though a new breakthrough in 8-bit cartridge ingenuity called the Aladdin Project, we will soon be blessed with the concept that will revolutionize the way games will be sold and purchased. Look for the Aladdin to work his magic sometime in the second half of the year. Okay, gotcha, Rose. Listen, this magazine is from 1992, so there's a lot of slang from the 90s that I forget. So there you go. There you go. We saw one of those Aladdin decks. Yeah, at the Toronto show. We're gonna keep going here, Quarterman. We're gonna keep going. Oh, Spanky's Quest. Who could forget Spanky's Quest? And it's recommended by Archie. Who remembers Archie? 3 people. I don't remember Spanky's Quest. I don't know if I can confirm nor deny whether this game came out. Although I will say the box art is absolutely atrocious on this thing. Archie sucks. So does Mr. Weather Nothings. Look at this. Available for the Super Nintendo and Game Boy by Natsume. I don't remember. Does anybody remember this one? Because I sure don't. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, right now, what you are witnessing on your screens is video game history. We've been waiting for this for 2 years in the magazine, which is our very first look at a little fighting game called Mortal Kombat. Ready to make that. And listen, I don't understand why, and there's no offense to Ren and Stimpy or Sonic, but why the hell didn't this game get the cover? I mean, I know it's not released yet in 1992, right? But they're already, like, EGM's already hyping it up to take the place of Street Fighter. You know what I'm saying? Why this wasn't on the cover, I don't know. Ready to make the next leap in video game technology? If so, step up to Mortal Kombat by Midway. This fighting extravaganza warps to the future where I can't read anymore. Can't read. See ya, Rose. Oh, let's try that again. This fighting extravaganza warps to the future where humans possess supernatural strengths and powers, and where monsters roam the earth. The ancient dragon man, Goro, what's up, Skyfall, is finally awake after centuries of sleep. Now, the strongest and bravest fighters around the world have arrived to challenge him in Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat features entirely digitized live actors with incredibly smooth animation and clarity. The action can move so fast on screen, you will think that you are in a movie theater. I mean, it sounds great. Digitized graphics are the way of the future. Prepare to be shocked. High fidelity sound effects and music surround the surreal backdrops of fighting arenas. Perhaps the greatest attraction and repulse for the weak at heart is the graphic violence depicted on screen. Sure, we have all seen it displayed in common everyday video games, with characters getting flattened, eaten, shot, or even disintegrated, but not nearly with the detail shown here. Remember, we are dealing with live actors. Now imagine a character having his head erupt, having a hole blown through his chest, burned to a charred skeleton, or getting a spike lodged in his neck. Is there any blood? Stupid question. It's everywhere. Power hits produce at least a quart of blood. Also, highlighted with convincing sound effects of it hitting the floor. The death attacks, they weren't even called fatalities yet, which is hilarious. The death, where are we? Oh God. The death attacks drop enough of the gooey substance to fill a horse? What the hell does that mean? Anyway, all of this and more is controlled by an 8-way joystick, a block button, which I always hated, and 4 attack buttons, upper and lower kick and punch. Congratulations to the designers. Shout out to Ed Boon. And programmers of this phenomenal triumph in gaming. Yes, not only was this a triumph in gaming, it would go on to become one of the most legendary and important games in gaming history for 2 reasons. One, the ultra-violence and what this game, along with Night Trap, did to the industry that changed it forever. And 2, the digitized graphics, which, once again, in this part of the 90s, was the future. Do we miss them? I don't know. I do sometimes. There have been games that have come out over the years, like Erica on PlayStation 4, anyone who's played that are like full motion video. You kind of interact with the movie. But this is more like, how Pit Fighter came before it. The fighters are all digitized. This was the way of the future. Even the backgrounds and everything else, some of hand-drawn, but a lot of digitized elements too. What I'll never wrap my head around is, this game goes against Street Fighter often in many verses, as we're going to see in the next year or so. These two will go head to head. This game did not control nearly as well as Street Fighter, and it was kind of clumsy. The uppercut feels good. The back roundhouse feels great. But when you're doing this, remember they're going like this. Remember the side view? They're like, they're doing all that ridiculousness. And you didn't it's like the hits got absorbed into the character and you didn't feel anything. That's what I'm talking about. The power hits feel great in Mortal Kombat. Everything else, not so great. That's my 2 cents. I'm sticking with it. Night Trap and Sewer Shark. Nudality April Fool's prank. Was there? I don't remember that. MK is the GOAT. Do we need to put the poll up again? Do we need to put it up there again? Because I will. Let's do it. This poll has gone up more times than Aunt Connie. Something funny joke. Choose only one. And this is the game, not the entire series in this poll. Okay? Just the games. Street Fighter 2 or Mortal Kombat. This has gone up there at least 3 times. Here we go. We'll let you guys decide. Now my microphone's screwing up again. I have the actress model from Sonya Blade on my Facebook friends list. She still does cosplay at Comic Cons. Oh yeah, the actual digitized actress, right? That's cool, dude. Nice. Night Trap, buddy, not Parent Trap. Night Trap. Oh, jeez. Versetti, thank you. Come on back anytime, my friend. I stream usually Wednesday through Sunday at 9 a.m. Come on back. Appreciate that. Okay, let's get Dale's writing up a storm here. Dale says, I can see the videos of Night Trap. Guess you're using real actors. And the woman on that weren't really wearing that much. Dude, she was just wearing like a nightgown. I'm not ripping on you here. I'm just the politicians that made it seem like the game was about you hunting women. I've talked about this a lot. It's not even close to that at all. They saw these images without actually playing the game and just kind of came to their own conclusion that that's what that game was about. There's one scene when that one girl's in the bathroom, and that's the scene that they all focused on. But you are controlling, I forget the organization you're part of, you're controlling the traps in the house to trap these vampires. Dude, Samurai Showdown is sick. I had it for 3DO. It was a pretty good port. It's good. It's really good. Yeah, I'm with Danjamin here. Street Fighter gets my vote. Yeah, I got well, you saw the video. I have Night Trap on Switch. And I found the collectors at the Toronto Game Expo for PS4. I'm holding out for the original because the original release was the early Sega CD stuff was in cardboard boxes. You can find the Sega CD Night Trap with the blue panel pretty easily, but the one with the red box is the one I'm holding out for. That was the original release. Anyway, it's good to see Mortal Kombat finally here. Pete says Street Fighter 2 for life. MK was always second fiddle. I would have to agree, my friend. Would have to agree. Game Doctor. This is a new segment that started popping up. Really cool segment. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it here, just because we have more than half the issue to get through still. Ooh, look at this ad, though. Look at this. We got Zonk now taking over mascot duties, and we see in the bottom right-hand corner, Turbo Technologies Incorporated, the new branding of TurboGrafx, where Zonk taking over for Bonk. I think that's pretty cool. Oh, dude, Plumbers is. I love that game. I love it. Especially after becoming friends with Jeannie. Like, she was like not only like a big crush of mine, and I'm sure everybody else's back in the 90s, but she's such a cool person. And I didn't know that she was a wrestler. I had no idea until I started digging in when I was interviewing her on the live stream, just looking at all her accomplishments. I had no idea. So that's completely amazing. What is this thing? What is this thing? Turbo Touch 360. No more blisters or numb thumb. What? Numb thumb is what made us the gamers that we are today. I want numb thumb. I want blisters. Who remembers playing Street Fighter and getting a blister and you're playing it on your pad? Doesn't matter. When the blister breaks open and the controller just has wet goo all over it. Those were the days. Wet goo from the blister. You guys, from the blister. I don't want, give me Numb Thumb. I want it. That's a good gamer tag. Someone should take that. Numb Thumb. Indo says, I like both games as well, but Mortal Kombat just had an edge for me due to all the bells and whistles. 100%, man. I see what you're saying. I think out of the original trilogy, Ultimate MK3 would have been my jam. That's the one that I kind of spent the most time with. MK2, generally out of the three, is regarded as the greatest of the three. Yeah, remember when they used to do the trackball games? People would wear like bowling gloves, the fingerless bowling gloves. Remember that? Out of This World 2, sequel to the hit game Out of This World, which had some of the first polygon graphics. Oh, excuse me, coffee in a game. Okay, look at this. Did this come out? Does anybody know? Phantasy Star Gaiden. So I learned making the history of Ninja Gaiden video that Gaiden in Japan means side story. I had no idea. So this is Phantasy Star side story for the Game Gear. I don't know if this came out in North America. Does anybody know? Remember Al Bundy's thumb warmer for bowling? I do not, but that sounds amazing. Jeannie Basson, by the way, was in an episode of Married with Children. We talked about Ed O'Neill. She's in the episode where the family goes to Vegas and they run out of money for whatever reason, and Al has to fight or wrestle the two women wrestlers in the ring. One of them is Jeannie. She's the actress from Plumbers No More Ties. Anyway, there you go. More useless knowledge from Bartlett. Okay, no one knows about Ninja Gaiden or Phantasy Star Gaiden. Moving on. Here you go. Here's some gloves for you guys with the old Batman logo, just in time for Batman Returns. I sound like a character Dana Carvey did. Oh my God. Okay. Here's the coolest kid. Grab the clutch. Okay, these are all, I believe, games from overseas. Nobody knows about Phantasy Star. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Subscribe to EGM. Your face. In your face, EGM. Oh, man. If I could get one of these shirts, who wants to do a quick eBay search for an in-your-face EGM t-shirt? Only $10. I had a Genesis clutch controller. What was that again? That was that? No, I had the actual Sega arcade stick. Yeah, I never, like, even an early age cutthroat, I never liked the third-party stuff. I know. I was an early game snob, but I recognized the difference between quality from first party to third. So I would always like the NES Advantage. I would always get that. If we were doing some kind of weird, wacky NES controller, it had to be the Max because Nintendo made it. All right, tricks of the trade. We are skipping. We always skip these. You guys can check out Retro Mags if you want to learn tricks and tips from the pros. Oh, this is the Super JoJo. Remember this thing? We saw this thing a couple issues ago. I don't think hipster is the word you're looking for. I liked quality stuff. And I knew if you paid a little bit more, that you would get what you paid for. Do you know what I'm saying? The new heavy-duty Street Fighter 2 controller is coming from Universal Arcade Systems. Yeah, look at this. This is the cool thing. So that's the actual board that you would see in the arcade, the convex arcade buttons, the stick, and the actual, I guess it is the actual wood where everything, all the controls would be housed in. This would have been like, dude, this would be like for super duper rich, like Street Fighter fans. I knew a couple people who had these. Like I knew them, they weren't my friends, but I knew people who loved this game so much they got this. This would be the kind of thing that you would order off Die Hard Video Games, which was that import store that I talked about so much that was in Michigan. Mo, you're awake, my friend. Good to see you. Happy Sunday. Yes, Dale, exactly. Yeah, you know the episode. Yeah. Yeah, she was telling me that because she still talks about how cool it was to meet Ed O'Neill and get to work with him. That would have been awesome. Next wave, games that are coming out. Anything tickle your fancy? Faceball 2000. Who was talking about this? Oh, she wasn't Big Mama, but she was one of the wrestlers. Yeah, I remember Big Mama. Remember number 2 in Married with Children? Remember was it Peg's mom? You never saw her? Like what an ingenious idea. Because all you had was what Al was using verbally to describe the way she looked. And so we all pictured like what Peg's mom would look like. He called her like, remember what he used to call her, like a wildebeest and stuff like that? Yeah, Ed is the opposite of Al Bundy. Yeah. Yeah, crazy, right? Chester Cheeto I had on the Sega Genesis. Dale, you would know. What was her league called? Her wrestling persona was Hollywood. But what was that women's league called, Dale? I don't remember. If you know, let me know. Okay, moving on. Super Mario Kart. So we know Mario Kart comes out. Look at this one. Twisted Flipper, which would get renamed here in North America. Does anybody know what this was called? It was renamed Cruel Ball, and it featured Motley Crue songs. You guys remember that one? Remember Cruel Ball? Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, a game Will often talks about. It's kind of like a toned down version of Final Fantasy, like just a like easier one. You'd only manage 2 people in the party. Glow, thank you, Neil. You got it. Yeah, dude. Oh, thanks, Cutthroat. Thanks for checking. I appreciate it. Everyone, welcome Neil to the stream. Yeah, glow. That's it. And I feel bad when I was had her on the stream. I didn't talk anything about wrestling, but I didn't know anything much about her career, right? So we just talked about plumbers. Guess who's coming to the Super NES? I bet you these are turtles. Oh my god. I knew it. Oh, what great artwork. See, these are the turtles that I like. Not necessarily like the pirate and the astronaut and all that nonsense, but just the drawings. Like they look so awesome. Like the way the Konami artists drew their stuff back in the day. Just like chef's kiss. So good. Look at this stuff, man. Turtles in Time. What a masterpiece. Absolute perfect game. Here we go. Cover story. One of the cover stories finally. We get to the Ren and Stimpy show. Shout out. Now, did you guys say, I think Matt said Ren and Stimpy was available. Did I see Paramount on streaming services? Who did the artwork on the Konami games? That's a good question. I don't know offhand, man. That thing was trash. I had the misfortune of trying one. What were we looking at? Pete, sorry, what's that in reference to? Okay, Turtles. Yeah, Ren and Stimpy. Yeah, like I was saying, a hit show. I think everyone our age really loved the cartoon. It was just pushing boundaries. We all remember the still paintings they would show of like the boogers and the snot and the earwax and all that gross stuff. It was just absolutely hilarious. Every frame of every episode was just like so masterfully crafted. The games, on the other hand, nah, they're throwaways. I'm sorry. And this is one reason why when people bring up the Super Nintendo and the Genesis libraries in particular, I'm not a huge fan of either, like as a whole. Now you say, well, games like this, Jay, did exist on the Nintendo, and they did, but companies like Capcom made them. So you had a world of difference in terms of quality. No offense to THQ. THQ's made some great games over time. You guys get what I'm saying? There's a difference between playing Little Mermaid that Capcom made. Do you know what I mean? And a Little Mermaid game made in-house by whatever film studio. Just a world of difference. Wake Up says, I didn't have cable in time for Ren and Stimpy or Beavis and Butthead. Well, the good news is you can always go back and catch up, right? And admittedly, guys, this show, of course, along with the greatest cartoon ever, The Simpsons, paved the way for Family Guy, Futurama, South Park, American Dad, Bob's Burgers, what's that other one, the neighbor one? King of the Hill, right? We wouldn't have any of that stuff if this and The Simpsons had not succeeded. I know we're supposed to be talking about the game. The game's a mediocre platform, blah, 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 blah. Go play it if you want. It's probably like $3 on eBay. Now what? Oh, this is the bonus stages. Oh, yeah, this is really cool. Do you guys remember that Street Fighter II, the World Warrior, the Super Nintendo version, added in this brick bonus breaking stage? Because in the arcade, it was the barrels that fell down. And this was only available in the Super Nintendo version. A little thing, yes, but just so cool, man, that Capcom put something different in. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if it was technical limitations. I doubt that very much. Or they just wanted to, make it that more special on Super Nintendo by adding something exclusive. Because I know I forgot about this bonus stage up until we saw it a few months ago. But I know younger me would have freaked out at this because this was something new that was just in the Super Nintendo version of the game. This wasn't in the arcade version. Very cool. Character versus character. Now this is the big thing that everyone thought you couldn't do because this was first seen in Champion Edition. But apparently in World Warrior, you can do it for Super Nintendo. Now let me see. All you got to do this, simply input down right button, up left, Y and B buttons at the Capcom logo screen. And then you'll be able to choose, two people will be able to choose the same fighter. I mean, I guess that's kind of cool. The mirror match trick, yeah. Hey, Christoph, welcome to the stream. Happy Sunday. Universal Soldier. Another J confession time. I've never seen Universal Soldier, nor do I give a lips. But you guys tell me, was it a good movie? Van Damme's a pretty cool dude. Was that Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren? Is that who that is? Or was this just a Van Damme movie? I know those two guys were kind of like the B tier of like Stallone and Schwarzenegger, right? They were kind of just like below it, but they were like competitors, correct? Oh, it is. Okay. Is it good? It's Cutthroat says it's classic. Okay. There's a second one. Okay. Soldier with Kurt Russell was better. I'll take your word for it. You guys get in there. Is that true? Yeah, I liked, if I had to choose, because we always had, you have to choose, right? Oh, let's do a poll then. Let's do a poll. So Street Fighter wins barely 53%. Okay, I want to see who you guys would pick. Probably spelt it wrong. Forgive me if I did. Is Dolph D-O-L-F? Oh, D-O-L-P-H. Thank you, Neil. So I want to see who you guys would pick between Dolph Lundgren or Van Damme. Oh, Seagal's awful. No, he's terrible. He's terrible. He reminds me of do you remember in the 80s like those those like really, how do I put this, like really adult, really ultra violent cop movies? Remember there was like what's his name? There would be like 48 Hours, but it was what's his name? He's an older gentleman. Not Eastwood with Dirty Harry, but there was another one. Charles help me out, chat. Dirty Harry, then there was Charles blah, blah, blah. Help me. Do you remember those movies? Bronson, thank you. Yes, Death Wish. Do you remember those? Death Wish, yes, thank you. Yeah, see, K-Mac knows my heart. That's right. Nick Nolte in 48 Hours, ladies and gentlemen. He could best all those dudes. Forget Dirty Harry. Forget Death Nothing Wish. Get out of here. Dude, Nick Nolte is one of the rudest, badass cops ever. Have you guys ever seen 48 Hours? It'll shock you. It's ultra violent, completely politically incorrect in every way. It also has James Remar, one of my favorite actors. He is Gans. So good. See, Skyfall knows. Go ahead, make my lunch. Just never been a Clint Eastwood guy. I don't think there's anything wrong with him. Oh yeah, we were talking about Steven Seagal. Josh brought up Steven Seagal. Oh no. Charles Bronson reminds me of Steven Seagal. It just never clicked with me. What, 48 Hours? He's not a dirty cop. No, Eddie Murphy is a criminal who is in an organization with James Remar. And I think he turns on him. He goes to jail and he gives up Gan's name or something like that. But the only way they can find James Remar is to get Eddie Murphy out of jail. So it's like a buddy cop kind of thing. But they both hate each other. So he's like Eddie Murphy's like handcuffed to Nick Nolte the whole movie. The second 48 Hours is when you get, without spoiling it, that's where you get the one cop is like the main bad guy. It's like one of those, oh, he was there the whole time. Yeah, see, I watched K-Mac. I saw The Good and the Bad and the Ugly. I don't think it's a bad movie. I just, you know how some actors just don't do it for you, right? This game, who remembers Mario Paint? So many hours of fun, in particular with this screen here, where you could make your own music, and they would have weird like cat and dog noises. They would have the flower sound from Mario Brothers, the 1-up power up sound, Yoshi sound, and you could put them on the clef here, you know, do all the different notes, and you can make your own song. It was so good. And you got the Super Nintendo mouse with this. My God, I loved it. Loved it. Dolph was in the 007 movie with Timothy Dalton. Was he? Okay. I don't remember. Oh, that's okay, Pete. Yeah. Sometimes YouTube goes out of sync and you don't really realize you're behind. Yeah, it's all good, man. Yeah, the one without the actual D-pad. It's just that touch. We don't need that. Give me the old school blisters. Know what I'm saying? Benjamin says The Good and Bad and the Ugly is one of my favorite movies. See, there you go. That's why I love you guys. We all have just such different views and opinions on things, and yet we all respect each other. I dig it. You know what I'm saying? Now you got me thinking about westerns, and I can't help but to think about Young Guns. We were talking about Young Guns the other day on the game stream. The first Young Guns. The second one I don't remember anything about. The first one was so amazing. Now, again, I haven't watched it in quite a few years. I don't know. I can't say if it's going to hold up or not. But I got to tell you guys, Red Dead Online is coming. I never gave it a fair shake, but I feel like it's time. I feel like it's time to do so. There's so much Western stuff going in the air now. We're talking about Young Guns. We're talking about the outlaw Josie Wales, if that's a Western. We're talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Clint Eastwood. I gotta install Red Dead Online, and we gotta make a character from scratch. That's gonna be one of the games on the 12 games of Christmas, starting this Thursday, right here on the J Bad Lips channel. Skyfall with the 10. Let's go, buddy. Thank you so much for the $10 donation. Stupid microphone. We like the same things, just not the same thing. Hopefully that makes sense. Love you, buddy. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. You can't write. I can't write or read. So there you go. There you go. Mo says Unforgiven is my favorite Eastwood movie. Oh, Tombstone. Yes. Is that better than Young Guns? And look at this poll. Jean-Claude Van Damme is winning 83% over Lundgren 17. That's some BS right there. No love for He-Man live action. God, you guys disappoint me. What was he saying about respecting each other's opinions? Anyway. Dale says Charles Bronson's death wish wasn't a cop. He was a vigilante. Okay. And Dirty Harry was a cop, right? Gotcha, buddy. Crash in the Boys Street Challenge. This is by American Technos, or Technos of Japan, I should say. And uses the same graphics or the same art style and graphic models as Super Dodgeball, also by Technos, and River City Ransom. Man, I really want to dig into a history of Technos. Like, I love the games that they produce, man. They're just so great. Like, look at this art style here. So awesome. Josh, all I remember is Dirty Harry the Deadpool, and that's because Jim Carrey was in it for like 3 seconds. I've talked about this before. I was obsessed with Jim when he came out around the Mask era. And I did the same as I did with Brad Pitt, where I would go and I would buy all the VHSs. So I have like all Brad Pitt's movies on VHS up until like the 2000s. Same with Jim. I have like Earth Girls Are Easy, Once Bitten, Dirty Harry, Deadpool, all on VHS. Oh, there's that B-52 game. Oh, isn't that cute? Look at this guy chasing after him with his tongue hanging out. It's a little nasty if you ask me. Who played Power Blade 2? P90 knows. P90, did you know that there is a PC Engine version that is on my TurboGrafx Mini of Dodgeball in 16-bit? And it's so good. It's so good. Dude, I don't know if there's any way we could do this, but wouldn't it be fun to do like a multiplayer Dodgeball? I don't know if there's any online versions that are 2 players or not. Oh, it would be so good to do that. G and R were in Deadpool? Really? What do you mean, like the soundtrack or like the band members? That would have been, honestly, Neil, that would have been one that I watched just for Jim Carrey's part, and I would have not watched the rest because I think he gets shot in it. He's like a crazy bad guy. Gargoyle's Quest. Not a series I've ever been into, but we all know the Red Demon from the Ghosts and Goblins series, and we all hate that Red Demon because he's the hardest enemy in the entire franchise. But nonetheless, Capcom saw some value in him, and hence him getting his own series here. But I was never really into Demon's Quest or any of that stuff, but I know a lot of people that do like this series. The band was at the funeral for Jim Carrey. Really? I'm just going to look that up on YouTube. That's cool, dude. Yeah, P90, let's do it, buddy. We have the same taste in games. I dig it. Battletoads trading cards. What I wouldn't give for one of these now. That would be pretty sweet. More EGM contests. We got Sonic 2 on Game Gear. If you guys are Game Gear fans, the little blue hedgehog with the attitude is now in Game Gear. Again. Here's the Monaco GP. Some new digitized photos. Oh, Sienna's a guy. There you go. I thought Sienna was the blonde model from the first game. I was wrong. Batman Returns. Ooh. Batman Returns. Let's get another poll up. Choose a Burton. So, Batman or Batman Returns? I wonder. This will probably be a landslide. I'm guessing for the first one. But Batman Returns, the hype was real. Just a star-studded cast. You know, you have Danny DeVito, Michelle Pfeiffer, Christopher Walken, Michael Keaton. I can't say for sure or remember whether this got the same kind of heights as the first one. I think that probably would have been impossible. But nonetheless, huge. Yes, and shout out to Chad Benjamin. His favorite Batman series, the Tim Burton. You heard it here on the J Bud YouTube channel. 75% so far. 78% Batman, not surprised. All right, my favorite version of Penguin is still this one. Just weird how he had like that black, like slimy crap coming out of his mouth, and he was all like not even pasty white. He was like ghostly white. He's just like, it's so weird, man. Yeah, Returns is good, and Michelle Pfeiffer is Catwoman, ladies and gentlemen. Can I get an amen? The best Catwoman in history. She's just frigging awesome. Even like her Selena Kyle persona, I loved. Yes, she is. She is that. She's awesome. Splatterhouse 2 ad. Shout out. Let's go. And yeah, someone was talking about the pictures of the green ice before. It must have been just the way that the photo was taken or just didn't develop right. I don't know. But the ice is not green in NHL 93. Penguin's teeth were great. I mean, if you say so, buddy. Oh, Skyfall. I'm not saying that. Dale says, I really do enjoy both Tim Burton Batman movies, but the original is still the best. Batman Returns is fine. It's just not it's just as good, but something about the first movie I really enjoy more. Yeah. I think it had a better story. And the Penguin Catwoman stories were great, but this is just my humble opinion. Like with all of these superhero movies, the more heroes and villains you put in, the weaker the story gets. The first one was just great because it was Joker versus Batman. You could argue that Joker's a better character than Penguin, sure, but I think less is more. And now you have Penguin and you have Catwoman, and they're kind of fighting for screen time, right? Always been my problem with the X-Men live action movies because you have so many amazing characters and they're all kind of fighting for screen time. Does that make sense? Neil says 100% facts. Batman and Robin, the Schumacher is the best. And we know he's not kidding. That's 100% facts from Neil Temple. You heard it here first. Okay, here's the Team USA basketball. Sorry, I'm itchy. I don't know why. It's not a pick. It was a scratch. It's not a pick. It was a scratch. Oh, here's that setup. All you old schools. This is the dream setup. Remember this? The ultimate gaming rig. And we were spotting like all these amazing things. And this would be one contest. I should say this was one contest. I do remember wanting to enter as a kid. I never did, of course. But look at this. This is like the dream setup. Even today, now that retro tech is like cool again, where like in the early 2000s, maybe even the mid 2000s, like 2005, 6, we would have taken this TV and thrown it off an 11-story balcony. I don't want that. I want a new plasma now. Jesus. Retro gamers would kill for this TV. Absolutely kill. P90, I hope you're okay, buddy. You got to be careful doing that stuff. But you made it okay. Yeah, just be careful. We got dumped on too, so I hate to say it, but you're out east. You and Neil are Eastern. So I'm sorry you got our snowstorm from a couple days ago. Apologies. I don't make the weather. Time to Wake Up says, P90, have you ever played NES Battletoads? And by the way, for those of you who don't know, P90 X Bowler on YouTube, give him a sub. My favorite retro gamer on YouTube by far. He's very, very good at these old school games. Inspired me to go through Ninja Gaiden. Inspired me to make the Ninja Gaiden history video. And check him out. He just kicked Ninja Gaiden 3's butt this morning. You love the snow? Get the hell out of here with that. No. Snow sucks. Snow's good if you don't have to go anywhere, right? So like if you're lucky enough, to maybe have a couple days off during Christmas, if you don't have to go anywhere, sure, let it snow. But man, when you got to drive in this stuff, Neil, you know what it's like being a Canadian. It's rough, dude. And the older I get, it's two things I hate: night driving and driving in the snow. Even worse, like I won't even go on the highway in the winter anymore. Won't even try it. Wake Up loves the snow too. What's wrong with you guys? I love the snow. Nothing more fun than backroad snow donuts. Well, you're brave. I got like a Honda, man. I got no fun. Like I was never one of these dudes who had like a snowmobile or anything cool. Like my cousin, raised on the farm, right? He had all those toys, right? Snowmobiles and all that stuff. If you're just talking about cars, I mean, that's different. Night driving in general, I can't do. Why is the Falcon radar dish and the cockpit on the opposite? That's a real mirrored image. God, is there anything more awful than playing Star Wars on the Game Boy? But it's Capcom. How did this happen? How did Capcom make a Star Wars game that I was unaware of? How did Capcom make a Star Wars game at all? I must dig further. It's pretty cool. Night Quest by Taito. Oh, and look at the links. Look at the links. Now they're peddling Batman Returns. I love you, Atari. I'm sorry this happened to you, but this is the last ditch effort of Atari trying to sell their links. This is the version 2, by the way, for those of you who don't know, of the Atari links. That just, I mean, when your system is not doing so well, I'm just saying maybe spending all that money into redesigning, it's not such a good idea. We've seen it so many times. It doesn't work. But anyway, they did. They redesigned the links, and here you go. And here's our Turbo Express. Okay. Can you guys do the old conversion for me? You guys who have the secret powers of the internet. Can you look up what $199.99 would be from 1992 to money today? What would that be worth? Can you guys do that for me? Let me know. Because I remember $199 in 1992 was like $1 billion. So I wonder what that would be today. I'm going to guess 800. Axley on the Super Nintendo. Canadian or real? Hey, you get your damn hands off her. Let's say real money. Us Canadians, we just get kicked in the lips all the time. Mo says $450. Okay. Thanks for looking it up, buddy. $199. Or did you look it up? Or are you guessing? Whatever. $199 in 1992 money, what that would be today. It seems low. That seems low to me. These are great. We always have. I love seeing the old game stores advertising. Like, look at this ad. I mean, it's terrible looking to today's standards, but you know, it's fun looking back on it. Oh, he is right. Okay. Wow. Why did I think that would be like a lot more? I thought it would be like $800. I looked it up on CPI inflation calculator. Thank you, Mo. Appreciate that. Factory, thanks for looking that up. Huh, I was wrong again. And here we go. We have the ending for every single character in Street Fighter 2. I remember this very issue. And I've talked about at great lengths about my childhood bedroom and how when I really started to get into gaming, I would buy doubles. You guys know the rule of 2. You buy one, you keep it mint, you buy the other one to kind of look through, whatever. Works with games, toys, blah, 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 and magazines. So I would buy 2 of these to rip out the ads, and I would have like zero room on the walls. It would be just ad after ad after ad. But I was just engrossed with video games, much like I still am today. This would have been 100% on the wall back in the day. This is just great artwork, a great little collage by Capcom, celebrating the end of Street Fighter 2, The World Warrior. I love it. I love it. Lemmings, shout out to Josh. RoboCop 3. Ugh. Ugh. Here we go, Retro Mags. There you go, guys. Check out retromags.com. That's where we find the issues that they have painstakingly converted over for us, preserving video game history. Thank you so much, Retro Mags. You guys absolutely rock. Did you guys have fun? I had a lot of fun. Thank you for hanging out. Now, we do have the 12 days of gaming starting this coming Thursday. I don't know the date. Whatever this Thursday is. You guys know I always put my schedule up for streaming up by tonight, or it will be up Monday. But check it out. So 12 Days of Gaming will be sponsored, of course, by thegamestore.com. But the prizes that I'm giving away for each day, no, they're not by Santa Claus. They're by our friends at Game Cycle. So if you guys can do me a favor, please make sure you follow Game Cycle, the Warncliffe Road location on Facebook, and give their YouTube channel here a sub. Do me a favor, okay? The 12 Days of Gaming will start this Thursday. Every single day, we're going to play a new fun game. We're going to have a great time. And there will be a giveaway, a video game every single day for 12 days leading up to Christmas. Can this be true? Oh, not me. Game Cycle. Again, show your gratitude to them. Give them a sub on YouTube. Follow them on Facebook. Don't forget, please check out the Game Store, our sponsor in the United States. Right now, they're looking for games. Wait a minute. Why am I saying it? We're going to play the ad at the end of this. Anyway, thank you guys for the super chat. We got a couple new subs in today. I want to thank you guys for all the support. I couldn't do this without you guys. We're going to see you Thursday working on the last bits of my new history video, which will be coming out this week. The last video before the new year. I can't wait to show you guys the new history of. So we'll see you guys in a few days. Much love to you all. Store is the hottest new online gaming store, hitting just in time for the holiday season. You can find their insane selection of miniature games, collectible card games, and board games at thegamestore.com. Currently, they're pushing their huge campaign on filling half their store with video games. And that means they are buying video games like crazy. Now, if you can't make it to their brick and mortar store, you can sell your games online with 3 easy steps. Step number 1, send a list of the games you wish to sell at sales@thegamestore.com. Make sure you add if they're complete, working, non-working, or minty fresh. 2, you will receive a preliminary offer back that may change depending on further inspection. Once you have the offer, it's good for 3 days. All you have to do is reply back and accept it. Step 3. Finally, the Game Store will send you a prepaid label that you print out and you just ship your games to them. Upon inspection, verification, and acceptance of the price, they will send you the money any way you choose. Now that can be cash, check, PayPal, bottle caps, any way you choose. Get in on the ground floor and sell your games that are just sitting there collecting dust. And just remember, wherever you are, wherever you play, everyone shops at the Game Store.